Hello and welcome to the internet again, and thank you for joining me for another Party Meeple video. First of all, I should say happy festive season and new year, and however you celebrated it, I hope it went well and it was full of no stress and lots of joy, because we all know this time of year can be a little testing for some of us. Anyway, at the beginning of December, our local game club held what they call DecemberCon. And part of DecemberCon most years, I think pretty much every year for the last 10, they have a swap meet or like a game sale. And people bring in their secondhand stuff. The club also owns a lot of games and ones that aren't being played. I believe someone logs all the plays. Ones that aren't being played are put up for sale. And for the last few years, this has been an auction. And auctions are fun. Genuine game mechanic that should be explored more. Anyway, I always make a habit of getting something for our collection. And as you'll note, I'm in front of a different set of shelves this time because these are the games that we have because we like to collect games and occasionally they'll get played. There's no shame here, only opportunity. The games on the other shelf are ones that are more likely to come off and get given a spin. These ones here, not so much. In fact, a lot of the games here I've had since my late teens, early 20s, when I used to play, or collect and hope to play, old Avalon Hill military simulations. I like a bit of history. I would have made a terrible soldier. I'm a complete coward, but that doesn't stop it all from intriguing me. Anyway, back to the WA Board Gaming Association auction that I went to in December. I managed to buy 2 games. And one of them, this one, I got for $1. And it's a gem. So let's talk a little bit about how Emerald plays before I talk about why I like it so much. Basically, each player has a troop of knights and they're going to go and rip some gold off a dragon in a cave. Like, that theme has never been done before. And here's how it works. On a turn, you get to move 2 of your knights, usually. And the amount that your knights may move is equal to the number of knights that are in the space that they started their move in. So if there's 3 knights in a space, doesn't matter whose they are, your knight can move 3, meaning that space now has 2 knights, and if someone else wanted to move from that space, they would move 2. The track starts at a castle, goes around in an arc, and ends at the end of a dungeon where there's a dragon, and she has a large pile of 5-point cards for the first player to get there, because all dragons like to collect cards. This is how Magic the Gathering was invented. Maybe not. Anyway, the first half of the track is just getting to the cave. The second half of the track is moving along the cave and trying to get to those dragons' 5-point bonus cards at the end. There's only 4 of them. Everyone has a number of knights. There's not enough to go around. So it's a bit of a race. Those 5-point cards, they're good. If you can get 2 of them, you have a real leg up. Anyway, as you move along the cave, there are more treasure cards in the form of gold and in the form of gems. The first person to collect 1 of every gem will get some bonus points, and the person with the most of each gem will get some bonus points. Otherwise, gems are just worth 1. Gold, on the other hand, is worth whatever's printed on the card, and you can always see the card you're moving to. Okay, pretty straightforward so far. So what do I like about it? Well, I've just explained all the rules to the game, basically, although I haven't talked about how the dragon moves, but I will get to that. So on your turn, you get yourself 2 actions. But if in one of those actions you pick up a card, your turn ends immediately. So you sort of you set your knights up so that outside on the track, you'll move 1 of your knights, and then inside in the cave, you will move another knight, because you want to try and collect cards to score points. But here's the thing. I'm on a space with 3 other knights, and I want to move along the track to get to those 5 points, those juicy 5-point cards at the end of the cave. But if I move off this space, the person whose turn it is next, they're going to be able to move too, and there's a 5-point card 2 spaces away. So what do? Do I not move this knight because I would like them to move and get the 5-point, and then I can get the 5-point card on my move, hopefully. Or do I move and just go, yep, they're going to get 5 points, but I'll be closer to the 5-point bonus cards. These are the sort of decisions, as a game designer, you want to create in your games. They're interesting. They're interesting. A while ago, the Quan and I were sitting at the yacht club chatting to some friends over a beer, and they asked us about our board gaming. We occasionally take games to the club and play them. It's a nice place to have a coffee or a beer and play a board game. And they're curious about this. So they said, what game should we buy if we wanted to try a modern board game? And normally we would just say Ticket to Ride, because Ticket to Ride, really. But for some reason, we'd been playing Azul, and we quite liked it, so we suggested Azul. And a little bit later, a month or 2 later, met the people again, and the dad was like, oh man, great game, really enjoy it. We've played it loads. Hardly surprising. I cannot beat my daughter. Completely puzzled by this. And well, with a modern board game, if you play well, you should expect to win. You may not. You may not. There should be some luck involved, and because that allows other people to snag one on you. But you should expect to win, and she's beating you. And you're obviously intrigued by this, which is good. So I said to him, are you taking the tiles you need, or are you taking the tiles she needs? So here's our question again. Back to the Emerald game. Do I move and get closer to the end of the track and let the person going next get 5 points anyway? Or do I not move and do something else and wait for that opportunity for myself? Maybe I can get both. And the same thing is happening in this game of Azul. He looked at me and he went, I never look to see what she needs. And I'm like, there's your problem. And as a game designer, you want to create these situations in your games. And really, you want to make them not too opaque. You want to make them reasonably obvious so people can see them and go, oh. Because that, dear friends, is where the fun is. The other part of Emerald, which I should explain, is the dragon. The dragon has a custom dice, which has just 1 to 3 on it, because it's a 6-sided dice and it's got 2 of each number. And if somebody moves along the wood, there's a wooden stick on the board, and if someone lands on that stick, the dragon will roll the dice and patrol up and down the stick, a move of 1 to 3. And if it goes past you, that's okay. She doesn't mind people being in her cave, but if she lands on you, you're going to either have to give her some gold, or she's going to feed you to her child. So, and she doesn't care how much gold you give her. You can give her any amount of gold. So if you've got a handy one that you've collected along the way, you can pass that and carry on your way, and the dragon, she will be happy. And every time the dragon moves, the stick moves slightly towards the back of the cave 1 space. So the dragon patrol starts at the mouth of the cave and finishes at the end of the cave. When it gets to the end of the stick, it just turns around and goes back the other way. And so this is the little bit of luck you put into a game that is largely deterministic, because you know how far you're going to move, you know how far everyone is going to move on the board, because you can see how many pieces they have in each space. Anyway, this game cost me $1 because auction mechanisms are fun. So the WABA secretary, treasurer, Warren, I'm sorry, I can't remember what your role is. But anyway, puts his hand up and goes, who'll give me $5 for this? And because the last game I bought, I just went, yeah, that's what I paid for it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait. Who'll give me $4? 3, 2, 1, yeah. And this game, 2002, old Abacus Spiel thing in a box. It's not new. It's not going to like satiate the FOMO of the young kids. There's silence around the room, and we got ourselves an absolute gem for $1. If you're curious about games, go to Board Game Geek. There's an actual market there. I'll put the link below, where people sell secondhand games, and you can sort them by the country you're in, and you might get a bargain. My rule of thumb is if it's half price or less, it's worth getting. There are people there that think their games are worth, a bit more than that. And in fact, there are some very collectible games that are worth a lot more than what you pay for them, but that's rare. So if a game is worth half price or less, and you can work out what it is by checking eBay, then I think it's worth getting. And, opportunity shops, charity shops, whatever you want to call them, often have like fun little games and things in them for cheaps. But this for $1, it's my best purchase so far. We've played this a bunch of times now, and it's one of those games where we sit around the table with our friends looking quietly at the board going, what's going to happen if I do this next? So on a final thing, I started by wishing everybody a merry festive season. This arrived in the post. For those people that watch a few videos, I gave away some stuff maybe 2 videos ago now. I can't remember. It's an old man here. And so out of the blue in the mail, Kevin, thank you so much for the card. And inside it says something along the lines of Gurabe Raksonas ot Anolaksio. I'm not sure how I butchered that, but thank you so much. Anyway, if you like the video and you want to know what I'm up to next, I try and post something about monthly. Probably not, but the intent is there. Please subscribe, hit me with a like, go to the Party Meeple shop, maybe get yourself a game or a shirt or a mug, all of the fun stuff. Thank you so much for joining me. You'll see me on the next one.